Saturday, the 6th day in the month of December 2025. Warm welcome to this week's edition of Matters Arising, a program that critically discusses and analyzes matters of national interest. Now, the constitution-making process has always been contentious in this country. From the Chona Commission of 1972, established by President Kenneth Kaunda, to the Mvunga Commission of 1991 that was to restore multi-party democracy, to the Monakatwe Commission of 1993 established by President Frederick Chiluba, the Mongomba Commission of 2003 initiated by President Levi Mwanawasa, and the National Constitution Conference of 2007 established to draft a new constitution with 14 committees set up, to the of course, the 2011 Technical Committee appointed by President Michael Sata to the 2016 Constitutional Amendment, and now the Mushabati-led Technical Committee of 2025. All these mentioned above have never been without their own share of drama. For example, in the late 2007 and early 2008, PF leader then Michael Sata expelled 18 of his members of parliament for defying a party directive to boycott the National Constitutional Conference. The party leadership viewed participation in the government-led NCC as a betrayal of the party's position on the constitutional reform process. Well, in 2025, the conversation has now taken us to the infamous Bill 7. Should the government proceed with this bill despite the public outcry? Why the rush with Bill 7? That is what we discuss on Matters Arising tonight. I'm your host as always. My name is Paul Shingongo. Joining me for this important conversation is Honorable Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, Honorable Chpoka Mulenga. He joins me on the show. Before joining the UPND, Honorable Chpoka Mulenga served as Copper Belt Provincial Chairperson for the opposition NDC under Chishimba Kambwili. He's a holder of a Bachelor of Commerce in Entrepreneurship, and not too long ago bagged his Master's in Business Administration in Project Management from the University of Zambia, Member of Parliament for Chingola. Honorable Minister, thank you so much for joining us on Matters Arising.
Thank you very much. Thank you for hosting us.
Awesome. Remember, this is an interactive program. We are live on various platforms on social media. Go there, drop in your comments, questions, and contributions. We'll be glad, as always, to hear from you. This conversation, Honorable Minister, is a key conversation, but I must begin by, I know it's been a while, maybe almost a year that you got your master's, but congratulations.
Thank you.
I think that is something that, people were very proud of, to see their leaders excelling academically.
Thank you.
Awesome. Of course, the issue also of Chingola has been quite contentious. If I had the time, I'd have loved to begin from there, but maybe just as a way to start the conversation, how is the atmosphere now in Chingola?
First and foremost, thank you very much for inviting me to be a part to discuss the constitution amending process and what we're doing. And I'll discuss your preamble and also I'll take questions on it. It's a very important subject that we enlighten the country on why we're doing it, why it should be done, and also array the fears that have been put into the people because of the many lies that have come alongside it from different sections of society. And thank you very much for also reminding me of a place where I come from, Chingola. Chingola is indeed my home. Chingola is indeed a place that I represent as a public servant. And you're asking if it has come. Yes, it has come. What happened in Chingola is unfortunate, where we've got... Look, Chingola has been known across the country to be a place where even themselves in Chingola, ourselves, we say, why do all these wrong things get to start from here? And we are working tirelessly and so hard that we overcome all these wrong things. And in the last 3 years before this one, we have continued to work towards that in economic development, infrastructural development, in many different sectors, education, health, and other things. And we've done exceptionally well as a government through many different areas like Constituency Development Fund, putting markets where they're supposed to be, sanitation facilities, maternity wings, among many others. But unfortunately, there's this market that we are so proud of ourselves. It's the biggest in the district, called Chpoka market.
It's the biggest.
Yes, in the district. It's the biggest. Look, it's a hub of business, and you find that it does not only serve the district, it serves other districts and provinces too. You find that people that are in transit from maybe other parts of the Copper Belt into the northwestern province, they come into Chpoka. Others that are transiting from Zambia into the DRC, they have to make a stop at Chpoka. But this is a market for many years which has never received a facelift, which has never received an upgrade. The only structure that was done, I think, in the Hakainde era, is a place that we call Kumasavi, where our fish traders are operating from. It's an old structure. Right now, it has even been leaking for years. That was during Kaunda's time. But over time, it has expanded. But the expansion of this is where there have just been arbitrary allocation of plots. In the past, you could see councillors from political parties. They give people to trade there. And they never built decent brick and mortar structures. Just like that, and they put a plastic on top. And this is the biggest area of trading place that is existing. And every year, in and out, fires come and fires burn those places. So we decided deliberately, when we were actually receiving the enhanced CDF, we said, no, this is not the way we can treat our people. We can't always be showing sympathy. When fires gutted, we try to buy a pocket of cement. Let's just do a sustainable thing. So with the wisdom of the president, in the increase of CDF, we said, let us build something. But we were very excited that the revamping of the mines, so Konkola Copper Mines has come on board with the return of Vedanta. The president took stance himself to say, before you come, you need to pay the councils what you owe them. You need to pay the contractors. You need to pay the employees. So the money that was paid to the councils in excess of 30 million kwacha. Instead of buying vehicles or luxury things, we decided to start reconstructing Chpoka market. And 2 big market shelters have been done. And apparently, they are the only places that survived the inferno, closer to the makeshift areas that were there. So year in, year out, this has been happening. But we're trying to demonstrate that we need to continue to build and upgrade the facilities of Chpoka. So now the fire gutting that happened, which was quite unusual in the way the fires just swept everything. Investigations are still going on. I'm not an expert in it, and we want the people to really give a report of what happened, and if there are people that are responsible for it, they must be held accountable. So over 2,000 marketeers lost their trading facilities. Even right now, I'm at pens because the people that were trading there, they don't have trading places. So but the life must go on while we are rebuilding a new market, because we are working on it right now. We fenced it and we have to rebuild. So now, but what happens to those that were trading there? They've got children to go to school. January is coming soon. They've got farms to tend to. So we really have to find a way quickly with the town clerk, the mayor, to put a facility that they can work on. So we've been working hand in hand with my mayor, the town clerk, and councillors to make sure that we upgrade the facility. So for the first time, the head of state was appalled with sympathy, like always, with what such things happen. But he said, no, this can't go on. Let me descend from the State House into Chpoka to see how I can help my people, how I can support them, see it myself, because this thing has been happening year in, year out, and that's why His Excellency even went there to show sympathy with the people. And the most unfortunate happened, where you saw there was that fracas and stones being held, among many other things. From, this adage that people say, like in my language, I'll just say it in English, because look, I'm on a public forum where people will not understand the other languages that I'll use, but I'll just explain it, where you say, look, a bad seed or a bad individual will make the whole town to seem like they are bad, but that does not represent the people of Chingola. That the throwing stores that do not represent the people of Chpoka, do not represent. It's a bad element that we have and must be rooted out, definitely. Because what they did was an abomination, was a detestable thing. And trust me, as member of parliament, however much I would want sympathy of votes or anything, that can never be tolerated. And whoever is behind it, where they are found, a number of arrests have been done. Investigations are going on. I'm not even qualified to discuss that or talk about it. They should definitely be brought to book. Because the president was there to make sure that he supports now the marketeers with a 10 million kwacha seed fund so they can have somewhere to start from. And you could see the marketeers themselves were so broken. They were even standing in between the same hooligans and the police to see how they can support and protect that. A number of youths who identified themselves and said, look, we don't stand for what this mischief happened. They came out and said, oh, look, please send our sympathy. We are sorry about it. But that's why I'm spending more time to interact with our people. Say, look, we cannot be identified as a place of hooligans. We cannot be identified as people
maybe you've neglected their cries and their concerns for a long time, and that's why maybe they resorted to that, unjustifiable as it can be. Maybe
I'll tell you something, and you should be very careful with the searches of justification for wrong things. There is no justification for hooliganism. There is no justification for thieving. There is no justification for criminality. Everybody wants to justify their causes of action. If you will tolerate such kind of activities, we will fall back in the days of the past regime, where thuggery and hooliganism will be tolerated. There are people in the last 4 years who are hungry and thirsty for hacking, for thieving, where even yourselves, the media, were not safe. When they just see you ask a question, it's bordering on their mischief, they will go for you. So you should be very careful on how you deal with acts of that kind of thing. We can't let the country fall back into those hands. And it's appalling sometimes when we see the civil society, including faith-based organizations, celebrating such activities. There is no justification for criminality. If you say, okay, now, because there are no jobs, people will come in here and they'll rob you, will we justify that? Dialogue is always a cause. Make your voice be heard. And personally, me as Member of Parliament, I've always been in my constituency. Minister as I am, with a very busy portfolio, which is bordering about the economy of the country, industrialization, trading and other things, I always find time to be in the constituency. So that is not something that we can use and say, okay, this is it. So I want to say this, criminality has got no justification. And even you, the media, must be very strong in speaking against it, because you've been victims before. So if you want to justify it based on what happens and quote it with a certain statement, it will hit you someday. So what is bad? If it is happening on someone, if it is bad on HH, it should be bad on you. If it's bad on Chpoka, it should be bad on you. So it is like vice versa. Yeah. So we should not really tolerate such activities.
Indeed. Let's get to the issue of the Constitution. We've seen quite a number of conversations around Bill 7, Honourable Minister. We saw, first of all, the Minister of Justice notifying the National Assembly on the need to defer the bill, and a reason was given in the communique that the process of consultation must be wide. Yeah. We saw Concord also ruling in a similar fashion, or bordering on broader consultation. The Mushabati-led committee was set up for that very purpose. They submitted a report to the president. And before we could get to the contents of the report, Honourable Minister, we have seen the bill returning to the National Assembly. Many have raised questions, first of all, on that aspect, before we even get to other matters. Why the bill has returned to the National Assembly before getting to the content of the report that the committee did.
Okay. In short, you're saying, like you said earlier in your preamble, so what's the rush? There is no rush. Let's be very honest with ourselves as a country. We have seen many constitution amendments processes happening in this country, even just before elections, within the same year, before elections. Let's take, for instance, 2021. We saw the constitution amendment process that happened just before elections. Just 2021. We saw it. In January, there was a constitution amendment, and it happened. But now, what did we do as a UPND government? We started it long before elections, over a year before elections could start. But you are saying you are rushing. How are we rushing? We withdrew it from Parliament. It's constitutional.
Deferred, right?
Yes. We deferred it from Parliament. There's a that must be standing order number 122. Yeah, 122. And then I can't remember exactly the provisions. It must be 122A, B, or 122.1, something like that. It's a standing order, which also allows the Minister of Justice to do that, to defer it. But why did we defer it? When we presented it, you mentioned a number of constitution amendment reviews, which were chaired, starting from Dr. Kaunda, you're talking about the Mainza Chona, the Mwanakatwe, the Mvunga, and here where we are with the Mushabati. And I like it when you clearly said that this process has always been very contentious. It has always been, these people, there's a certain class of people that will say we should do this genuinely, and there's a certain class of people that will say we should do this genuinely, and there's a certain class of people who don't just want it done because they feel if this one does it, they'll be more popular. So let's just fight it and mislead the public that this is the way to go. So we are not rushing anything. We are just doing something that must be done rightly. But maybe I should take ownership. We haven't been very aggressive as a government to explicitly explain the contents that are there. And I think we should be doing it. The president has always been reminding us.
But before I get to that, there are two issues. There's a content, Honorable Minister, and there's a process. And the process has been more contentious, actually, more than the content, because even institutions like, even the WASIS Forum has indicated that there are some very progressive clauses in Bill 7, but the process is what has been in contention. I will answer your question. You are talking about the process. I want you to tell me, what process should we have done to make it acceptable? Yes, in the first process, you said cabinet sat, looked at what is there, constitutionally legal, took it to parliament, constitutionally legal. Because constitutionally, what would hold us from taking it to the public constitutionally would be maybe when we are trying to amend the Bill of Rights. Exactly. So that one now demands a referendum, where now everybody has to go and cast a vote on it. But this one is not that way. But we did it thinking we were following the Constitution, but there was a large outcry. We have always committed to the public, so we listen to what the people say. We say, okay, fine. Let us satisfy the concerns of these people. Let us defer it so that everybody else listens to it. The WASIS Forum brought the issues about the civil society, the church mother bodies. Say, okay, fine, let's now take it to the public. And we took it to the public. Shabati and team were appointed to do this. In the Constitutional Court, I want to clarify this. I may not be a very qualified lawyer. I'm not a qualified lawyer, but I understand with common sense and also logic of the interpretation of the law. Because I sit among lawyers and other people and they explain it to you. Even you don't need to be a lawyer as a journalist to understand the provisions or the pronouncements of the certain law. The Constitutional Court did not say this is illegal. They said it is lacking a majority engagement, a popular stakeholder involvement. That's what was said. And then, we said, we've heard. So let's take it now to the majority public. And that's why that Mushabati team was put up together to go to the public now and engage them. And you must understand that. I was looking at a debater recently who was saying it only brings 11,000 people as opposed to the 20 million people that we have. Tell me, what has been the threshold of public to do it? We've seen 13,000, and sometime back, years back, we saw it about 11,200. It's within the threshold of a larger stakeholder engagement. And we're talking about 13,000 of constitutional amendments. Sometimes others which we could run today, they stop again, they do it in over 2 years. So we've done to satisfy now the process that they said. Everybody get on board? Everybody has gotten on board. So now the amendments, recommendations have been made also by the Mushabati-led commission. And what have we done? We've taken it to the parliamentary committee to look at it. They're looking at it. And they're even doing stakeholder engagement further, following the due process that you demanded. Now, we have to take it back to parliament. There's a time frame. When you defer it, it should be sitting in parliament. So we have taken it back now, and it's within the law to say now that has been brought. Have we debated it today? No, we're not debating it. We're talking about Maybe just a point of clarification. When you say that, of course, the report has been done by the Mushabati-led the committee.
Yes.
The purpose was to get the views of the Zambians on the subject.
Yes.
And they've gotten from the 11,000 plus Zambians. What are the Zambians saying? Before we get back that bill in the National Assembly, what if the majority don't want a bill? Why has it gone to the National Assembly?
I will be very premature to start highlighting individual contents of that one. The process that you say, the process. What's the laid down due process? Now, the parliamentary committee must sit and review it with the public. And it has been taken. Because the president will not go and announce it. You will cite him. The process demands now that a parliamentary committee, by the way, a parliamentary committee is not UPND members of parliament. It's a consortium of members of parliament.
The list you've seen anyway from
yes.
that committee is majority of the pro-UPND and pro-UPND MPs. So
okay.
That is also a bone of contention. But that's not the issue, yes.
No. Yeah. You've raised it. You can't raise something like that and mention us and beat in passing. You are trying to pass a certain message to the public. I should respond to it. Parliamentary committees are drawn from a consortium of public. Whether you like it or not, who are the majority in parliament?
Say UPND.
Exactly. So you should, it's common sense that every committee that sits, there will be the majority. That's what about numbers in parliament. So I challenge you, go to any committee that is sitting here today or in the past where you find that the majority members of the House are less in any committee. So it's not in the way that the context you're taking it at the UPND. No. That is just a normal thing, and it happens. So I will be very concerned when you pass on such a message and just brush over it. I need to clarify.
Yes, and in clarifying, I don't know whether directors can be able to show this, but they are members, and I'd like you to clarify because many people are wondering, is this list, legit, in terms of the select committee? Because the majority of them, Honorable Minister, that are looking at this seem to be from only UPND with 3 PF MPs, and the 3 PF MPs, we know where they've been standing: Davison Mungandu, Elias Daka, and Swangile Mwamba. These are the only 3 Patriotic Front members that are in the committee. The rest are UPND plus 3 independents.
Listen to me. You've spoken about 3 independents, 3 PF.
And all these we've seen where they've been standing of late.
You have a perception. And if you come with a biased mode of engagement, then there'll be a problem. Sibongile is PF. Where has she been standing? What bill has she supported of the
That's
UPND?
a list just for the viewers to be able to see, yes. Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Sibongile is PF. So what is wrong with... So even if I picked somebody else, now I see the line of thought that you have. Even if anybody sits there, because they're talking about Bill 7, you want to go against them and accuse them. You tell me, educate me where Sibongile has been standing. Because Sibongile has been PF throughout. Mr. Daka, how are you citing him to say he has been supporting UPND? Why are you going to be so unfair to these people who are looking at this? The independent MPs, they're independent.
The Davison Mungandu, they've publicly supported UPND. They've said they're pro-UPND.
You mentioned Davison Mungandu.
Yes.
No, I think you are wrong when you say he has said he has pro-UPND because he could have been cited of crossing the floor. You provide, as a media, I don't mean to argue with you, but I just want the truth. As a media, I would also want you now, I didn't come here to challenge you, but I want to tell you the truth. As a media, provide where Davison Mungandu said is pro UPND.
But
if he supports a clause that is progressive, what is wrong with that? Why do you want to be rigid in your line of thought? Because your opposition, when the government provides something positive, why are you going to go against it? He has asked and said, guys, if CDF was not there, I wonder how I was going to serve my people. If these progressive policies were not there, so what is wrong with that? Do not always have a rigid mind saying, because I'm opposition, even the progressive things, I'll go against it. It shouldn't be that way. You need to be very progressive in the way you think. And there's a time when it comes to be apolitical, when you become a serious nationalist. So tell me, what is wrong with that? Even the independents, if they say this is supporting and helping the people, what is wrong with that? So don't always be quick to accuse people of certain alignment because they are progressive. So the committees, and you've given me 6 members who are not part of the UPND are sitting there. What is wrong with that? So that is the due process being followed. If you don't want that as a due process, tell me, how else should we do it?
So my question again, is it the duty of the committee to study the report that was being done by the technical committee? Will that report that was done by the committee be made public? Because if you paid attention to the terms of reference that was given, they indicated that they will share the findings.
Let me now tell you this as Member of Parliament. What is done is legal and very parliamentary. The Speaker, every committee is constituted by the Speaker. We all sit in committees at the pleasure of the Speaker, constitutionally provided. So that it is you who said the due process. Now government, now your public servants, the cabinet, is following the due process, and you're still protesting it.
No, you haven't answered my question,
It is the duty of, to answer quickly, I need to give you context.
Yes.
It is the duty of the parliamentary committee to do that. And in their sittings, even you, the media, you can go and make your submissions. Now they're engaging even the public. So, okay, this is what we are going. We've reviewed this. What is your take? So you're free to go and be a part of it.
The question is, and I want this to be very, very clear, because these are some of the things people are asking, just to be very, very candid, Honorable Minister. When the committee was constituted and being sworn in, the terms of reference were released a few days after. Yes. And one of the things that was there is that they will make the findings public.
And Chief.
So at what point, before we get to the National Assembly, before it goes to the National Assembly, at what point will the Zambians appreciate the content of the work that was done by the committee?
I don't know why it's difficult for you to pick a simple thing. The committee is sitting, and I've told you, even yourself, you're part of the public. Go and be a part of them.
So they have to go to the National Assembly for them to be able to know what is in the report.
Can I tell you something? You ask for procedure. The procedure is being followed based on your constitution as a country, based on your standing orders of the National Assembly. And you ask me for guidance. How will I know this? I'm telling you the process. No matter how much you argue with me, based on what you want as an individual, it won't be done.
Hypothetically speaking, Honorable Minister. Hypothetically speaking, what if the 11,000 Zambians have made submissions? The majority of them do not want Bill 7 to proceed. At what point will the Zambians out there be able to know what is there?
Who do you refer to as, maybe let me understand you. Who do you refer to as Zambians?
The 11,000 that made the submissions.
I want to ask you this question. The problem is you're too quick to cut before I get it. Who do you refer to as Zambians to know if even yourself, through parliamentary provisions, because you know why we say that the Zambian people are being represented? Every Zambian is represented in parliament. And every parliamentary rule guides that there should be no one left behind. And here you asked me, how can we get to know about this? You said we did not follow the process. So we said, okay, let's go through the direct process that they're asking for. From the president receiving, what you guide me first, okay, now tell me, when the president receives, legally tell me, where should it go? Legally tell me now, you tell me, because you always want to curtail. Again, it's the same process you're asking for. Tell me legally, when the president receives a submission, where should he take it? Should it be cabinet now to announce the provisions, or should it go to a select committee of parliament? Guide me. Maybe we have got an understanding. It should go to where it has gone. Now, where it has gone, what is their mandate? Review it and start interacting now with the public. And say, this is what has been done, this is what is there, this is what they have recommended, that we remove this, we put back this in. And that is the process that's taking place. So other than that, it will be difficult for me to answer you, because you asked for the process is underway. So now, for more clarity, the Speaker will be there to guide you.
So for you, from where you stand, Honorable Minister, yes, the process that the Concord was talking about, the process that the Zambians were crying for, has now been followed.
Exactly. They asked for a wide stakeholder engagement. A constitutional review was composed. They went across the country to get reviews, and they have taken them.
So Oasis Forum is not on the right ground for them to continuously indicate, even at this point, that the process has not been followed.
Now, this is where we should be objective as a country. I respect the leader of the Oasis Forum, our sister, Beauty. I respect the last president, my dear brother, Lungisani, the church mother bodies, and everyone else. I don't take that away from them. I wish one day I can find that video earlier this year in Kasama during the celebration of Women's Day, where the chairperson of the NGOCC, a member of the Oasis Forum, publicly said, "We are so grateful, Mr. President, even for the inclusion of women to be a party into the Constitution." When we're talking about representation of women, youth, and everyone else. But who is the chairperson for the NGOCC? It is our sister, Madam Beauty Katebe, who is also the chairperson of the NGOCC, publicly announcing it. But now when they come as a consortium, I don't know what changes. I really don't know. So now you are telling me, because I want you to tell me, if the Oasis Forum is saying that process is flawed, give us an alternative. Don't go to the streets. Sit. Give us an alternative. But when you come to dialogue, don't put condition precedences. Let us be open to dialogue. Say, for me to talk to you, first this you should cut. Then you're not open to dialogue. So now I ask you, and you have got a duty as a media to also inform the public. Tell the public, what process does the Oasis Forum want? What are they asking for? As opposed to saying, no process followed. Tell us. It's like the clauses that are in the Constitution. I am willing to tell you from 1 to 13 how good they will help everyone and how devoid they are of the prolonged stay of the president in office. How devoid they are of power grab that you're always talking about. But you ask them and tell us, how is this prolonging the stay of HH in power? It has got nothing to do with the presidency, actually. Only maybe on one Article 52 that I can tell you. But ask a question, and you tell them, I see you're so bent on the Oasis Forum. Tell us, what process are they asking for that we should follow, that we have not followed? Then the Constitutional Court, which you are always citing to say they said it needs to wide stakeholder engagement. Just last week, when the Oasis Forum went there for a court ruling to say this must be stopped, what did they say? We follow the process now. The Constitutional Court was so clear. It said the process cannot be stopped because they've not found anything wrong in it. That's the Constitutional Court dealing with a constitutional matter. So don't just say this cannot be done. Tell us if it can't be done. Give us an alternative. If you say this clause is bad, give us a better one to it. And in the Mushabati-led commission, there are people who have said, okay, this one, remove it. Can you put in this one? And that is what I'm telling you. I'm not a spokesperson of parliament, so I cannot speak for them. Only the speaker would do that, or probably the chairperson of a committee. But I've told you the process, how it's being done. But I ask you again, sorry, I don't mean to ask you, but I challenge you as a fourth estate. If you are insisting and saying, but the Oasis Forum said this, why are you only concerned about the Oasis Forum? Why are you not concerned about the others? Because look, 2 days after the Oasis Forum, there was also thousands of consortium people said, no, look, we want this to be done. Why are you always referring to the Oasis Forum as Zambians and not referring to the others as Zambians?
All stakeholders are important.
That's good.
So the people that are against should also be listened to, not only the people that are clapping and are happy with your process.
And I'm glad you have said all stakeholders are important. I hope even on this interview, and even your deliberation as a fourth estate, you'll be concerned about the other stakeholders. You also asked me to say, how come these are happy? What is that they have seen in there? And I'm glad you have said it from your mouth to say all stakeholders are good. You should also not accuse them when they express their feelings, the way you are accusing other members of parliament, and you've mentioned their names, that these ones are aligned, these ones are aligned, these are aligned. Allow people to express themselves freely. In the same way we've allowed the Oasis Forum, allow the others to be
They released a statement after meeting with the president at State House that the dialogue has fallen off because the government is unwilling to listen. They only want their position, fixed mindset.
You are not, sorry, I didn't mean to say this. Government was number one to say we are pulling out the conversation.
Yeah,
we did that.
Yes, even them later on they also released the statement.
I'm glad you said later on. We should be very consistent with what we are with the allegations. Look, I am very cautious with what I say here because I am here to inform the public. So we should be very coherent actually in how we do it. Who did the first with the
Chief Government Spokesperson started first.
Thank you.
Beauty Katevi also released a statement.
Why did we do this? I said it here. Condition precedent. You can't go to a conversation and say, for me to dialogue with you, I will not dialogue with you. First you put this aside. But what if me I say as well, for me to dialogue with you, first make your teeth black. First remove your glasses. What if you can see clearly? Let's put everything on the table that is available. And we are clear with our reasons. So if they don't want to dialogue, but there are people who want to dialogue, why are you focused and fixated on one issue, on one area? And don't always accuse somebody who speaks positive to be aligned or dining with somebody else. Give them the right of opinion. You said it in your own words. Everyone's opinion is important. And that is why the president, he embraced everyone. Those that are opposing him, come to State House. Those that are embracing him, that are supporting him, come to State House. To
the contrary, Honorable Minister, I was at the press briefing with the press at State House, where the president was clear, indicating why he thinks the people that are against the process hate him. He was thinking the reason why they are against is because of his tribe. Quite a very disappointing view. The Zambians have alluded to that.
You are not honest. Now, I was shy to tell you this word. Let me tell you are not honest.
How?
Let me tell you how you are not honest. Wasn't the dissenting views embraced at State House? They were embraced. Were the receiving views, or should I say receptive views embraced? They were embraced. The press briefing where you were is not a press briefing where the president was addressing those that resented him or those that embraced him. The press briefing where I saw you as well was a press briefing where he was addressing the nation against thuggery and against the will to protest. You are part of the people that asked the question. Let me say this. It's important.
Yes.
Let me say this. Where I'm saying you're not honest. I never heard the president say, you hate me because of my tribe. If he said, I forgot. But let me tell you what he said.
We can show
he
those
said,
clips just now.
Let me just say it. Okay, he may have said it. But let me say what he said.
To be clear, because he did indicate that, look, every other president has amended the constitution in an election year. Why is it that HH wants to amend the constitution and it's a problem? Is it because of where I come from? He gave an example.
Where I come from, exactly.
Yes, is it my tribe? Why am I hated? I can smell the venom.
Now let me tell you this.
The video is there. I don't know whether you like us to share.
Listen to me. I heard him clearly when he said, "Is it because where I was born?" I want to quote him his words. Yeah. Is it because of where I was born, or is it because of my ears?
I didn't choose to be born there.
Exactly.
Yes.
I didn't choose to be born there. So now this is a context I want you people to really, I think, learn to brush out of your ears. I know you label him tribalism and everything. I will not comment much about that because I don't like tribalists, my friend, myself. But listen, when he says, is it because of where I was born? Does it mean tribe when he says where I was born? Why are you not concerned that he was born in a thatched house? He talks about ears. Does it mean that people, where he comes from, they all have got they describe a tribe? Why, when he talks about that, you all go tribe? Be very careful. When you do this, the other three are pointing at you. I want you, okay, now I challenge you. Play a video where he talked about tribe. Me, I'll give you something which I can even search on the internet, where he said, is it because of where I was born or my ears? So yeah, the media, play it for us so that everybody can see.
We'll be able to show that before the end of
about
the show.
If that is a thing, we should... No, I need to say something. Yeah. Especially for a young man like you and I. We should go beyond tribalism. I abhor tribalism. Whether it's you who's going to abuse a Tonga, or a Tonga going to abuse a Bemba, or an Easterner, that should not be. It should be about the content of character. It's about the ability of somebody to deliver. I don't support anything like that. So it is appalling, and it is a subject that I don't even want to discuss right now, because tribalism is detestable from whichever area it comes from. Yeah. So, but don't judge a person because when they say I've got ears like this, or I was born from this area, and then you just go, this is what we're going to say. Like I remember, one finger here, two fingers. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Let's get to the content, even as we look at the process. Many have also highlighted a number of issues around the content of Bill 7 out of the 13. Others seem to be very progressive. Others seem to be contentious. They've talked about the need why you want to change the qualification for secretary to cabinet. That is a CEO of the public service from 10 years to 5 years. Many have argued that, and look, that is the top civil servant.
Yes.
Why would you want to reduce the work experience from 10 to 5, looking at the sensitivity of that job?
Okay, now let me tell you what has happened in our current government. We are even going to be having a crisis. In our current government, I think when we even took over, it's not about saving the civil service for 10 years or more. It is having served as deputy secretary to cabinet. You need to be very clear when you're talking to the public. You can serve as a civil servant, a driver. You can serve as a civil servant, a clerk. You can serve as a civil servant, as a director. In the current provisions, it does not qualify you to be secretary to the cabinet. You need to serve as deputy secretary to cabinet. I challenge you, tell me. How many sitting deputy secretaries to cabinets have served for 10 years, or the equivalent in that position that we have? You'll find it is one or two. There will be a time when you will not even have one. What happens if you don't have anyone? Then you have a crisis. But at any given time, you have those that have served between 4 to 6 years. So you've got now a wider web to choose from, people that are there. It is just averting a crisis. So now I challenge you, the media, tell me. Because it's not every civil servant like you're putting it.
Yeah.
It's deputy secretary to the cabinet. So now you tell me, you've got the names. You know the deputy secretaries to the cabinets we have today. You know the secretaries to the cabinets that we have today. Tell me, these 5 had served for 10 years. You have a wider pool of selection. So it is that lacuna that we want to avoid. Even if you have got, let's say, a forming government, there's only 1. Maybe there will be not even 1. What will you do? But if you have got 5, 6, 7, 12, because you see, it's a normal trend. At any given time, you've got that have served between 3 to 6 years. I don't know what happens to the 7th year. People resign, they are retired, or things like that. But when you've got a threshold, you look at this pool is always giving us somebody to be there. Then we can pick from there.
So that brings the necessity of that particular
An
clause.
avoidance of a crisis and a lacuna in anything. Yeah.
Let's get to the issue of delimitation as well, Honorable
Sure.
Minister. Many have, first of all, spoken about the costs that will, bring when we increase the number of constituencies. We're already, stressed economically.
Sure.
You know that very well. And this now becomes another cost to the public. I would like to marry this also with the increased, members of parliament, from 156 to 211. Others have even said, where will they sit? Because the National Assembly, where you're coming from, Honorable, is quite small. Why the necessity of all this when we have pressing issues as a country?
Before I answer your question, which I support very much, what does the current constitution tell about delimitation? How often should it be done?
Reviewed every 10 years.
Exactly. Are we within 10 years or outside 10 years? We're outside it. We should now, that's what the current constitution demands. We should delimitate.
We should review. Review doesn't mean that you should delimitate.
No.
Because you can review and still maintain the status quo.
That is not right. That's not true. That is not true.
It's not a must that as you review, you are increasing. Is it a must?
I don't wish to argue with every clause or sub-clause of a constitution with you. I'm not a lawyer, and neither am I a constitutional lawyer. But if you tell me that, I can easily search if you give me time, and we'll go to clause by clause, which will take us the whole day to do that here. It is constitutional that we should review it within this period of time. And is there a need now after we review? Yes, there is need. Okay, let me just work with your words, where you say review, but don't amend, don't implement. What is the purpose of reviewing? We review to make better. Isn't that the purpose? Let me not even talk about other constituencies, because I've seen you in the social media and everyone else are only citing, maybe even the president or other constituencies outside Lusaka, Central,
I've not cited any constituency.
So let me say this.
You're branding me in a very wrong way. I've not cited any constituency so far, Honorable Minister.
I'm saying clearly that you're on social media. This is what you're doing. Very clearly. Where I'll name you with pleasure. But let's be honest with ourselves. I know, because if I challenge you on that one, you're going to play a video of the president talking about something in a certain province. But let me tell you something. I'll go for myself. In Chingola, where I am a member of parliament, I would really want that to be delimited. A review has been done. It is the biggest constituency on the Copper Belt in population. It is maybe 2 or even 3 times more than some other constituencies. Where we are right now, with the registered number of voters, if we put them everyone together, we are going past 100,000. If we have, because last year we were almost 80,000 in the last election. But we've got neighboring constituencies which have got only 40, others 35,000. So, don't you think when we review that there is need to delimitate this? And when we talk about Constituency Development Fund, which was 1.6 million, now 40 million, they give me with people 100,000 voters. By the way, don't think the voters are the only residents. Those are just voters. Voters are always fewer than the majority population that lives there. So maybe out of 100,000, I've got 400,000 to 500,000 people living in that constituency. You give me the 40 million. That you're also giving the 40 million to somebody who's got 35,000 people. Is that equitable distribution of wealth? No. My people will think the MP is not giving us as much as we should get. Because for me to distribute now equitably to the 100,000, as opposed to the person who's distributing for 35 million, the 35,000 people, the benefit will be hard to see. So we would say, split this. So that in the split, there will be 40 million for the 50,000 and another 40 million for the 50,000. Then the people now will get a larger benefit out of it. Chingola district has got 2 constituencies, but with a larger population. When we were buying these CDF ambulances, CDF police vehicles, we only received 2. Go to Kitwe, with some constituencies with a population lesser than my constituency. 5 ambulances were given, 5 police cars were given, and all these other benefits. This is now happening at the detriment, or not detriment actually, at the loss of a larger constituency. So what have we thought as a government? Abiding to the constitutional provision currently that we should review, and we are within the time to review. Let's review it. And when we review, how good should it be? Let's make now the people of Chingola have a greater benefit. When Chpoka sits this side, he provides for the people. Another one sits this side, he provides for the people. How bad is that? How is that keeping Hichilema in office? How is it grabbing power from others? It is the people-focused constitutional review provisions that we have than power grab. That is what we are focusing on it. You're saying you're focusing on other, at the expense of other projects, problems. What problems? The same constituency delimitation will cater for almost all these other national problems that we are focusing on. Imagine now we're going to put mini grid systems, 2 megawatt power in Chingola, in Inchanga, in Cabo, in everywhere. Now we do that 2 or 3. Everybody will have power. Everybody will be catered for. Isn't that a good thing? How bad is that? How is that keeping HH longer in office? How is that perpetuating my stay in office? Because the same people that you're talking about are the people that we are going to give a service. So the provisions in the Constitution currently are there to help you and I. What I would ask you is carefully read them. Don't listen to anybody who speaks because they speak good English or they're loud. Listen to the content of the message. And what we are saying as a government is that if you don't like this, give us the alternative. Like what we have going to experience in the Mushabati constitutional review. I could see when I was watching it on TV, many people were submitting to say, okay, in this, can you please start selecting members of parliament outside ministers outside parliament, among many other things. Give alternatives to what you think is bad. Let's listen from to yourselves, and then we can see how we can make a better thing.
What is the need for the MPs to go back to the council? I was hosting a seasoned lawyer, Intakabimba, just on that very seat you seated on. He says that used to be the case back in the days, and there's a reason why we changed it.
Yeah.
The members of parliament who are dominating in the chambers. The members of parliament needed to do dual roles. It's supposed to be in the council chambers, but also in the National Assembly. It affected the operations, and that is the reason why we changed it to ensure that MPs are not part of the councils.
Okay. So you want, in our wisdom of reasoning, and why we would want members of parliament like me to go back to the chambers to discuss constituency development fund. Let's narrow it in this way. Who is the head of a constituency? Is a member of parliament. So now, when he comes to Lusaka, to parliament, to lobby for CDF, which now the job has been made very easy. I don't need to lobby more from the president, from the government, because the church is easily giving us the CDF. Then when it goes back to the people that I'm lobbying for, then I'm not there to discuss the implementation. That is disservice to me, to my office. Then we thought, like, look, that's why you see members of parliament, he's in parliament. He doesn't even know the projects that are happening in his constituency. When he goes there, he gets surprised. What happened here? You need to be there.
I thought the approval of the projects, the MPs are part and parcel.
How can he be part and parcel when he's not sitting in the constituency, in the constituency development, in the council? How can he be? So now this is what, now you thought wrongly. Now, this is what we want them to be, so that they can part and parcel.
And just educate the Zambians, Honourable Minister, from your perspective as a member of Parliament. When the projects are being, drafted at constituency level for approval, MPs are not part of it.
Now, listen to this. At what point are we recommending for the MP to sit in the council? It is in the CDF committees. When in a CDF committee, there is a CDF chairperson who is not a member of Parliament, obviously appointed by the member of Parliament. So, unofficially, he will look at that. Officially, the council will decide what they will implement and when they will implement. And that's why we are saying now that can they be sitting there?
So you are part of the decision as members of Parliament in the current system in deciding the kind of project, right? Unofficially, but you are there. So you can't claim ignorance of the project, right?
This is why you are missing it. And let's be very realistic. Unofficially, is it legally binding? It's not. Do I hold this legal argument against you? No. Even if somebody they can even lie that he said no, yes, when he said no. Why am I part of it? Because I appoint the CDF chairperson. But do I sit in the CDF committee? No, I don't. Do you know who decides finally what and when these things are done? It is the council through the town clerk. So the implementation phase becomes now a challenge. That's why members of Parliament, they find it hard to see that this that they really envisioned, this that they promised the people is getting done.
So you want to go back in the chambers, like using the words of Honorable Kabimba, to bulldoze the process there.
Those are your words. Where you say bulldoze. We are not bulldozers like he. We've heard these bulldozer names. We need to be held accountable for things that we promised and we talk to the people. But again, let me tell you the good side of members of Parliament being part of the CDF. Obviously, I'm not part of what I'll tell you. There are members of Parliament who have never been going to constituencies in the name of being in Lusaka. They only go back right now. There are members of Parliament who are busy now flocking back into constituencies. The past 4 years, they were never available. And members of Parliament, when Parliament is on recess, they get transport allowance to go back to the people. So even when this provision comes, members of Parliament will be given transport to go back and sit in the constituency. When you go back,
an extra cost, right?
I'll tell you something. What is the more benefit? You're so fixated on cost. There are costs that bring value. That is where we're focused on.
We should not trivialize the costs, Honourable Minister.
I said something. Costs that bring value. Do you understand that it costed me to drive to this place? But do you know that there's a greater value out of it? Informing the public. So if I say it is costly for me, you didn't pay me to drive to Prime TV. But I used my money. Why did I pay? Because the greater value, I'm informing the public. So, if you are going to say a cost, I shouldn't trivialize. You'll be following me now to my office to interview me, so that I don't incur a cost. The greater value of a member of Parliament, if government gives them fuel, go to your people. There is greater value of now them interacting with their people, them representing the people effectively. There will be no excuse. Because the people will even know that there's a CDF committee meeting today, our MP is there. When he finishes, we'll call him, he'll sit with us in Chpoka. He'll sit with us in area. How bad is that? There will be more deliberate interaction between the public and their public servants. So this is what we are presenting to the people. When a member of Parliament comes into your constituency, he will be more frequent to listen to your cries. He will be more frequent to address your needs than staying only in Lusaka. But if you say, we don't want them to be part of it, let them stay in Lusaka, then don't complain that we are Yabaditush. Because there will be no excuse. They will even be challenged to say, so this is the thing. So when you take there is a cost, to any good thing, you should invest. My brother, this is the syndrome we should overcome in the Zambia. Because we are coming from an era where it was normal for you to insult somebody, beat someone, and then they pay you. Or you just sit, you speak the elders, they pay you. No. You should learn to work. You should learn to labor. And labor is a cost. Actually, you should not even say cost. It's an investment. So this is what we're talking about.
Let's as we begin to wrap up the conversation, Honourable Minister, time is fast spent. But one of the issues also has to do with representation of the youth, women and those with the differently abled in the National Assembly. one of the things that some stakeholders have indicated that there's not been a demonstration of political will from the new Dawn administration led by President Hakainde Hichilema in ensuring that there's an inclusion of women, there's inclusion of the youth, even in cabinet. Right now, if we check your cabinet, less than 5 females, around that number, plus minus, that are in cabinet. Meanwhile, there are quite a number of female UPND MPs that the president can choose from. If you look at your cabinet, Honorable Minister, there's no one below 35. That is a huge concern. Even amongst the 8 that the president has a prerogative to nominate, there's no youth there. Should it take the law for this to be done?
If the president does not nominate any of those that you have spoken about today, how are you going to hold him accountable?
No, but should it take the law?
Simple.
Should it take the law?
Now, listen to me. You can't. But he has thought, he said, we need this done by our people.
Because on my own, I cannot.
No. Those are your... You see how you impute statements on the president? You are too quick to impute your perception in him. But listen to this.
Yeah, Honorable Minister, on a very...
I like how you curtail me when I want to make a statement.
On a very serious note, Honorable Minister, when there's an issue of political will, before even we bring in the law, there should be a will demonstrated by the president in ensuring that the youth, women are included.
Okay. Let me go to the aspects of youths. Number one, I want to say something that is very important, even to the youths out there. Don't just sit at home. I'll say this in the words of my National Youth Chairman, Gilbert Lisfanisi, and expect because I'm young, I'll be appointed. Give a reason why you should be counted. Give cause why you should be seen to say, aha, you a young man, come be my presidential spokesperson, because you're adding value to the table. Don't just be a lot on social media that bring insults to become why me or why anyone. Give a reason why you should be. When we went into the elections, 2021, few people, young people, raised their hand and gave a justified reason to say I should be a candidate. I was 38 years old when HH appointed me as Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry. Probably, I am the youngest Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry in the recent history to serve that portfolio. If there were many with value, probably they could have taken the slot. But now let me tell you, without political law that you're talking about, let me show you that there's political will for this government and this president, whom you always love to cite. Even when you're talking about a political a national document, you always refer to one person. Let me give you now an example of how his political will is there in making sure that youths are appointed. The country has had how many by-elections in the last? 84. For the past 4 years, 84. I have attended more than 10 of these by-elections. I'll give you how we have brought the youths on board now. I will not talk about even Mufunelo in Kanchivia. No, in Mfuwe, where we're coming from. He's young, but he's crossed 40. But now I'll tell you, but of all the people that vied for that seat, he was the youngest, and he was picked. But now let me tell you, the young people that we have adopted and now are sitting councillors, you are the media, research this. In Luapula, Chief Mwataka Zembezeri, the recent by-election we had, the councillor we have is a youth. In Impika, in Kapamba Ward, John Charlie, the councillor we have there is a youth. In Senior Chief Kopa's area, in Kanchibia, Sunday Chandawa is Member of Parliament. In Kopa Ward itself, the councillor we have there is a youth. Among the many that we are choosing to be. Because now they have seen that this president is advocating for youth representation. They have come on board in their large number and we are giving them the opportunities. Now that we have seen that these young people want to do it, because look, if HH goes after he has served this term of time, maybe the president that will come will not be keen to appoint them the way it's happening. So how do we make the youths be ably represented? Let there be a law. Because now they are bringing value to the table. Not these people that have been masquerading as youths in that parliament with the kind of behavior that we have been witnessing. Let now the real youths represent themselves. That's why now it should be law. You tell me what you're telling me that the Zambians have refused. Go and tell those youths from University of Zambia, those youths from Kulima Tower, those youths from Chuempala, those youths from Kitwe, those youths from Chundaponde, those youths from Sinda, those youths from Namwala, who want to be a part of the decision-making process. You go and tell them that Zambians have refused this proportional representation. I don't know if you attended even the last meeting where we could even see the young people from Unza who are getting threatened and other places who spoke about wanting to be a party to it. So you are saying HH is not having political will to appoint them. I've given you. In the recent by-elections that we have got, you are the media, go and search. Youths are sitting in councils.
They don't qualify to sit in cabinet.
So now
they don't qualify to be nominated.
Bring another by-election if you want.
No,
since you're
amongst the 8,
they qualify. Look,
why hasn't the president nominated the youth amongst those 8 nominated MPs?
Listen to me. You really want to find.
It's a simple question.
You want to falter. I said it from my preamble. Get yourself heard. Be available and raise your hand. So now when we do this, because now they've seen that there is appetite in this man appointing them. By UN appointment of a youth is 35. That's why I don't want to talk much about the cabinet. But when you look at the young people that he has brought on board in cabinet, Kakubo was a young guy. Young man. Before I think it must have been 39 when he was given the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. 39 or 40. Rodney Sikumba, we are still the same generation, Minister of Tourism. Go to the Minister of Northern Province, Mbao, still a young man. He must be 41, 42
Oh,
now.
these are not youths.
Listen to me. I'm telling you because now I'm trying. You will always find a fault, but I'm telling you about the young people that made their stance. But now, because of that engagement to say young people are given this chance, those who are available. How do we scale it down? Many have said, I want to do this. So now, demonstration has been given. You said political will. Should it be a law? Now, political will has been demonstrated in these by-elections. I've given you 4 of these now coming on board. So now, what happens into the next election? Now it has inspired young people to be relevant to the cause. And they are saying, I want to stand. I want to do this. So now bring them on board. But now let me tell you the biggest challenge that makes the youths not be able to stand as members of parliament. The Zambian economic system, the way it is designed, it is very difficult for a youth, as you say it in the UN Charter, 35 years to about that young 18, to make enough money to garner political support, campaign resources to do it. But they can have the brains, the wits to do it. This also goes to the women, goes also to the disabled, physically challenged. The economic social status of the Zambia, whether you like it or not, you must be about 40, 45 to start making now enough to bring people together. I was very fortunate. At a very young age, I had a good job where I was even able to pay in a foreign currency. I even ran and won an election. But I'm one among the many. But what about those that are smart, even smarter than Chpoka, that can do this? Because they are marginalized, they don't have money, then we are going to kick them out. No. Let's be deliberate and bring them on board. So the youths, this president that my dear brother is referring to here every time, he believes in the youths, their abilities to deliver. So you don't need to have $1 billion to come in parliament. You only have to have the brains. You only have to have the wits, the energy to represent them. Our women, go to my constituency in Chuempala, in Lulamba, in Mudenda, in Muchinshi, in Kasompe. There are women who are willing to contribute meaningfully to the well-being of women. They are seeing and appreciating how maternity wings are being built. But Chpoka cannot be the best person to talk about the maternity wings. Can we say now, even from these poor women, you can be selling per market, Vanamayo, but we want you to be in parliament. So Vanamayo, this is what HH is saying now. Even from there, can we choose deliberately? Women must be about 10 to 12 women. Why from different areas? Why Kalam Parliament? They may lack the education, but come on board. This is what we are talking about. But tell me who's fighting that? It is the women, other women who are sitting in parliament. Now you're challenging me to say, look, he has appointed only 5 women in your cabinet. Why didn't he appoint 20? How many women do we have as MPs under UPND? Look at the threshold. He had to go for those and bring them on board. So there is political will. Now let's look at the disabled. After Kaunda, how many presidents appointed the disabled to sit on boards, to sit on national institutions to deliver? We had Lazarus Tembo. May he so rest in peace. And we had past here where the disabled have been marginalized. You can be physically challenged. You can even be deaf, but smart and willing to deliver for your people. You can be lame. You can be challenged in any way, but you can't work and make money. But you are smart and you can represent your people. And these are the people he said to, even to the physically challenged, come, be a part of this. This is what the president is talking about. This is what the constitution is talking about. This is what we are presenting to the people. How bad is that? How is it giving a power grab from the public? How is that prolonging the stay of a church when he wants even those people, the Balabasula, to come on board? That's what he's talking about.
As we wrap up, I wanted to get your comment on the issue of term limits for council chairperson and mayors' proposal that they should be abolished. Currently, the constitution indicates that they can only serve for a maximum of 2 terms. Many thought, well, that should have just been extended to the MPs, who should also just serve for 2 terms. Afterwards, give room for other people. We've seen some MPs stay in the National Assembly 20 years. Others are getting 25 years in the National Assembly, as if there are no people in the constituencies. What's your view? Possibly the same way we have term limits for president. They should have been extended from council chairperson, mayors to also the members of parliament. But the proposal indicates that remove the term limits even for the council chairpersons and mayors.
You said the proposal saying what?
There should be no term limits for mayors and council chairpersons.
Before I answer your question, I will backtrack you to the point where you are challenging, saying we've seen members of parliament that have stayed for 4 terms as though they are not people. They don't impose themselves there. They are elected. Why do they get elected? Because of the service they give the people. So why do you want to curtail that? So we said if members of parliament can be given the grace, the opportunity to stay that long, why are you going to be unfair to a mayor? If he's good enough, and the people feel this is the person to do it, we don't want the state to say, Sembe, the term allowed for them to stay for longer. We could have given he's a good person. So why open it? They still have got enough energy to serve the public. Why curtail it?
They always curtail it for presidents.
You see? It's for a very, look, I don't want to go to that office because I know when I talk about the presidency, you will have your own cause. You will move from the office of the presidency, you go to an individual. So let me talk about what has been spoken about. And you gave reference to many that have served. They don't impose themselves there. They are nominated, then they are elected. And they win overwhelmingly. Why do they win? They have served the people well. So if you're going to do this at presidential level, or at parliamentary level, why don't you also support the councillors in the name of mayors? So we thought it could also be necessary and important that even mayors continue to do that. Because if councillors have got no limit, MPs have got no limit, why should it only be on MPs, on mayors? It is from that background where we saw it. But the people of Zambia will decide through parliament. So ultimately, I want one clause. You tell me one clause. Don't mention a name like you're always shifting to say HH. One clause that says when the constitution is amended with these provisions, then it will give the UPND to stay forever in power.
Who has said that?
Maybe we'll stay longer because people will see that people have provided the right things. So it is a good provision that we are bringing in that are good, that are transforming lives. So if you don't like any provision, tell the people. There was a broadcasted interview or debate where I appeared, where some opposition leaders were saying, in this constitution, when the president, when it passes, the president will appoint 45 members of parliament. What a lie. Where? No. When this constitution amendment comes through, the president will be firing elected members of parliament. What a lie. Liars. How can the president now become powerful that he can even fire the elected member of parliament? No. You can be minister because he appointed you and fire you, but you still remain member of parliament because the people that gave you the mandate still hold you there. So the falsehoods that are coming from the opposition and certain sections of society are not right. That's why I'm asking you, tell me one clause, because you can't find anything good in it, or anything bad in it. And you know, if this constitution amendment goes through, because And people will say, HH has brought a good thing. In the same way, they fought the increase of CDF, which they said it cannot be done. Today, the people who are saying it cannot be done are benefiting out of it. When he said, I can recruit teachers, they said it cannot be done. He has recruited them. They are working. In the same way, he said, we will be paying teachers on time and civil servants without delay. He's paying them. My Zambian people believe in the same way the constitution will benefit you. More development will come in your areas. You are saying, where is the money going to come from? What cost? What cost are you talking about spending on your public servants? Listen to this. You were challenging and said, where can 25 million come from? Because you were used to 1.6 million, which you never even knew was coming, and you thought that is how you live. But let me tell you where the 40 million is coming from. I have come here.
In conclusion.
Yes, in conclusion. I have come here, being driven in a government car. What car am I being driven? Government car. That's a Navara. We don't have money to go and buy. Right now, I could have bought a brand new V8. But the president said, Chpoka, can this Navara move you? It can move, Mr. President. So use it. The V8 you want to do, let's pay for free education for somebody, your nephew. We are paying that. So that money that I could have used. And those cars, the cost is not only in buying. Maintenance, my dear brother, is something else. How many members of parliament or MPs, ministers do we have? 25. Where is the money coming from? People are saying, yes, people may say money is not in circulation. Because we are not seeing Chpoka move with 5 million kwacha in my hands and distributing in plastics. Because we are not seeing my cadres burn some of it or sleep on it. Because what do I want my cadres to do? Let under CDF get a contract to construct a bridge. And it will not only be my cadres, it is every cadre different of political affiliation. Because money now must be earned. You must work for it.
Honorable Minister.
So I need to say something that is very critical.
Yes. My time is up, yes.
Because people say this they don't want it to come to pass. Because they don't believe the good things that are there will come to happen. Once they split Chingola, Lufuanyama, and many other constituencies, it will be good service delivery. When we've got more representation of members of parliament, which even gives now an opportunity to you, the youth out there, who is told that, imiti kula impanga, but you don't realize the day when you become impanga. Now your time has come. What this president is saying, the youths are the today leaders. So come on board and represent yourselves. Don't let those who are masquerading in parliament, insulting people, say they are youths. Let you, the youths, come. I'm not a youth. Let now the youths come and sit there. People talking about disability, they don't even feel the disability. In this country, we've seen governments, regimes, civil societies make organizations to say this is for fighting for HIV and AIDS. But making money out of the people who are patients. This is for the disabled. Making so much money they are richer than the disabled themselves. But we want now the disabled to come and represent themselves. We are gender sensitive. We want to represent women. But you bring civil societies, organizations, and donors, give you money to speak for women when the women themselves languish in poverty. Can they come and speak for themselves so they are supported? So should they fail to do something, we say, the youths, you have it in your hands. Banamayo, you have it in your hands. The disabled, you have it in your hands. Support this agenda. Support this president. Come 2026, overwhelmingly turn in numbers and vote for HH. He means well for the government. He means well for the people of Zambia. Thank you very much.
Honorable Minister, thank you so much for finding time to come through tonight's edition of Matters Arising. Are you standing again in Chongola?
Listen. Everybody who stands for elections stands at the will and pleasure of the president. I was like you are the person who said, I came from NDC. I'm not NDC anymore. I'm UPND. Bona fide member of the UPND and the card holder. But even the way I contested, I was supported by the UPND and the president authorized. I'm committed to the people of Chingola. I want to represent them again. Okay. If the president allows me, I'll go for it. If he doesn't allow me, he gives me other responsibilities, I'll do that. But ultimately, I want to contest.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
That is Chpoka Mulenga, Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, Member of Parliament for Chingola on the Copper Belt Province, also member of the Ministerial Media Committee of the UPND. Join me tonight on Matters Arising on behalf of the entire production crew. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Poshingongo. Good night.